Well, Jayson Jorgensen with you. It is time for a spring version of HuskerChat, brought to you by Acres Equipment, as we take a look back at the Nebraska red-white game and spring practice coming to an end for the Huskers. As always, we're joined by our analyst, Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline. Sean, good to see you again.
Hey, great to see you, Jason. Thank you.
You bet. Spring has wrapped up. Red-white game took place on Saturday. Certainly a big spring with the new regime of Matt Rule and his coaching staff. As you start to boil this down, what's kind of your take on the first spring for Rule and company?
Well, I think when you look at a spring game, I look for just kind of the flashes that you see. And there were definitely some flashes with the offense and some guys on the defense, but there's always going to be issues. I think we know this offensive line is a work in progress. The ball security was an issue, but they were live. Quarterbacks were live, running backs were live. So it was a good evaluation of this team. And Matt Rule, I think, has really kind of implemented what he wants to do over these 5 weeks.
How about Rule as head coach? I've been very impressed with all of the things he has done, the way he's tried to bring people together, and he's done a good job of setting a positive, just a positive motion with this program since he was hired back in December.
Yeah, he's a true leader, and he's created a family atmosphere in the program. And you hear a lot of coaches say that, but it's kind of just lip service. He means it. I mean, they did something on Friday night, for example. All the mothers of the players came and they did like a football moms thing with their son, or they did like tackling drills with their kid. And it was hosted by Matt Rule's wife. And they hosted a dinner for all the parents. And they've done that now multiple times. And that just stuff like that wasn't happening. So, there's a true family feel, I think, even where the parents feel like they know the staff, and once a week they have these gatherings as a team with the coaches and their families as well. So I like the way he's built that side of things, because that's important. I mean, you need guys to play on Saturday, but you also need them to want to play for you and feel that love and that trust. And I think he's done a good job in trying to start that off here.
There were some newcomers who saw a lot of snaps on Saturday, most notably quarterback Jeff Sims, a transfer from Georgia Tech. What's your read on him, and will there be a big quarterback battle in the fall when Casey Thompson comes back and he's healthy and ready to go?
Yeah, I think Jeff Sims really showed a lot this spring. To me, it feels like he's the guy right now. I mean, there's a lot of time left, but he can run, he can throw. He made it look easy. He was 9 of 13 in the game, had a touchdown run. So there was a lot of things that jumped out about his performance. But they want that quarterback run game to an extent. They don't want him to run like every play, but they want the quarterback to be able to be a threat. And he's got that ability to do both. And he's big. He's 6'4", he's 220. He's got a big arm on him as well. And so I thought there was a lot of positives about his play. And to me, for Casey Thompson, it's going to be hard. I mean, but at this point, Casey will turn 25 this year. It's not like he's got a lot of options. So no matter what, you hope both these guys are here and they're going to have two really good ones on the roster.
How about on the defensive side with the new defense with Coach White? We saw some of the chaos that this defense can bring, 18 tackles for loss, and it was impressive to see what they were able to get done, especially missing some of their key guys up front.
Yeah, I thought Tony White's defense, what I liked about it was the way those guys fly around. I mean, there's just a lot of activity, a lot of guys the 8 turnovers was bad for the offense, but the defense did a great job of forcing turnovers, getting on the football. I was impressed too with the young guys, to have guys like Cam Lenhart, Maverick Noonan, Prince Willie Emanuele, and Sincere Safiala. You go down the line, these freshmen that are early enrollees, Kai Wallen, who's a first-year junior college player in the program, they came in and they had a promising showing in this game as well.
Of course, one of the big stories was the return of Frank Solich. He was the coach. He was getting started. I know when you and I were just kind of getting into this back in the day in the late 90s, I thought his press conference on Friday was fantastic, and it certainly was great to see how he was accepted by everyone on Saturday. Certainly, it was time for him to come back.
Yeah, and that wasn't easy. I mean, I think about these last 20 years. I mean, how hard it's been for Frank Solich's family. There's been some rocky times. I mean, because he played for Nebraska, was a great assistant coach, He won games as a head coach. The problem was he followed Tom Osborne, and no matter who followed Tom Osborne, it's going to be like whoever follows Nick Saban in Alabama someday. It's just not going to be easy to be the guy after the guy. I mean, look at USC when Pete Carroll left. I mean, they're still trying to get it figured out at USC. It's just not easy to fill those shoes. And, him and Steve Peterson, it just wasn't a relationship that was going to work long-term. I'm glad though that he came back, had that moment with his players, with guys he's coached with, guys that he played with. It was a real special weekend in Lincoln.
All right, moving forward, some guys certainly have some decisions to make. I would assume keeping an eye on the transfer portal is the next thing. That's the biggest news thing now in college football.
Yeah, there's 1 week now where this portal will stay open for the spring, and what is that going to look like for Nebraska? We know they're 13 over the limit of 85 today, so there's at least 13 players that will either go on the portal or stay at Nebraska and just not play football anymore. They're able to do that too. That's an option. So how will that break out? How many guys will just say, I'm going to stay at Nebraska as a student? How many will say, I'm going to go on the portal? The head coach has the ability, though, to dictate those decisions. It's not necessarily a decision the player makes on their own. The head coach can control the roster spots with this NCAA rule.
All right, and you have to figure Nebraska's also out there looking for someone else who's not happy, maybe looking for a home who could step in and help this team, because they certainly still have some needs.
No doubt. I mean, defensive line, offensive line, I think those are always needs for about every team in the country. It's going to be light, though. There hasn't been a lot of activity in the portal yet that got your attention. And the ones that are big, like there's a Georgia defensive lineman that just committed to USC. When there's a big name like that goes in the portal, 30, 40 teams offer that guy the second they enter the portal. And so the competition is tough because there just aren't as many attractive players. And then when there are some that go in there, everybody just, circles them like piranhas trying to get them in their program.
All right. Well, Sean, as always, we appreciate your insights. Have a great off season, and we will look forward to talking to you in the fall.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You bet. That was Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline joining us for this spring football edition of Husker Chat. As always, it's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.